5 full days after we began to feel the effects of this winter storm, the company that's under fire right now for how they manage the flow of power in our state says there is no longer a need to conserve energy.
At 11:43 this morning, ERCOT finally said its operations had returned to normal, but the power came on much too late for millions. In Harris County, 10 people died during the storm of hypothermia. And there were more than 600 cases of carbon monoxide poisoning as families try to stay warm.
KPRC2's Robert Arnold continues his reporting on ERCOT tonight. He's live in Fort Bend County. And Robert, ERCOT seems to be on the defense today.
This is the first time in 5 days our state's power grid has not been functioning under emergency conditions. With the grid stable, though, questions are now becoming laser focused on finding out exactly how this happened.
CEO Bill Magnus says he believes ERCOT had an accurate weather forecast and an ample supply of power.
I don't think the forecast of the demand was all that off because we were seeing extremely high demand.
He also said all the companies supplying power to our grid were warned freezing temperatures were on the way and to make sure their plants were ready for the cold.
They understood there was a big storm coming and we needed all hands on deck and all power on the system. And that's what they were planning to provide.
Yet 40% of the state's power supply tripped offline at a time Texans needed it most, and people died.
In theory, all of them are weatherized to some extent, and so that's the question, is how well they were weatherized.
ERCOT is now asking all the plants that went down to send in reports of exactly why they went offline. This question will also be the subject of Texas Senate and House hearings next week. There are also now state and federal calls to make weatherization plans mandatory for all power generators supplying our grid. ERCOT says while it can spot check plans for weatherization plans, it doesn't have the authority to force the plants to carry out these plans.
You know, Texas can't afford for this to happen again. And there are a lot of ideas about how to make that different.
Now, to be fair, Magnus says he does support mandatory winterization plans. One of the other things that we have been examining is exactly what type of warnings ERCOT officials were putting out prior to the storm, and exactly when did ERCOT officials know that our state was teetering on the point of no return. We've been able to piece that timeline together for you, and we're going to have it for you at 6 o'clock. Reporting live from Fort Bend County, Robert Arnold, KPRC2 News.